Welcome to the Trend Talk. We are your hosts, Crystal Hernandez and Marabina Jaimes. In these challenging times where we're focused on adjusting to our new reality and the fight against COVID-19, we forget that there are issues that are out there that are still going on and are still just as important. Issues like immigration. And they take on a new meaning when it's during these times, because if we're going through a different reality, imagine what they're going through. So our next guest, filmmaker Genevieve Anderson and actress Crystal Hernandez, were deeply immersed in the immigration issue back in 2018 when they were in the process of making their film, Dustwun, a film about an undocumented mother's quest to save her son, who was forced to rely on a troubled American veteran. Let's take a look at a clip.
You ever seen an alien?
Pick it up if you dare.
I felt one come through my heart once.
Tengo un hijo. Está muy enfermo.
I just wish someone could show me how to live without fear and doubt.
There isn't something you want to tell me, Kenny?
'Cause there's something inside of me.
No, ma'am.
Keeps telling me I'm lost, not found.
Welcome, Genevieve and Crystal, to the Trend Talk.
Hi.
Hi, Genevieve. Hi, Crystal. How are you?
Good.
So, diving right into this, Genevieve, you also wrote the script. You call it a fable. You deal with really complex issues, and you're looking at both sides of the immigration issue. Please tell us all about your fable and why you decided to tell a story like this.
So the reason that I wanted to make Dustwun as a fable is because this is just such a complicated issue. And any particular component of the immigration wall debate is laden with so much stuff. And I feel like anytime we start unpacking even one component of the debate, we get lost there. And fables are meant to be condensed stories that convey some kind of a moral tale. And even though Dustwun is not meant to be didactic in any way, it is meant to engage the heart and not the mind. So it was important that we bring the elements of the argument together in this kind of make-believe environment with this fake wall. They all stand in as haikus, if you will, for the larger issues and the larger character studies. But the fable I felt was the most effective.
Genevieve, you have a brother-in-law who's a border patrol, right? But you did a lot of research. So a lot of these things came from real actual stories that you heard.
It all came from that. It all came from living there. He helped me a lot with the script, and obviously he doesn't want to be credited in any way because it's such a contentious issue that he can't be associated with a point of view that would be at odds with their mission. But he was incredibly helpful about Border Patrol protocols. And he also brought to my attention how vast, there's not one kind of Border Patrol agent. I only had good experiences with Border Patrol, and but he told me stories about, Border Patrol working with the cartels, and there's this vast array of realities. And one of the things that I wanted to sort of open up, at least, is that when we think simplistically, we stand in our own position. It's got to be this way, or it's against the law, or those people, or this or that. We're missing the point. It is a super complex issue, and we have to open up the issue to all of these complexities and let go of our presuppositions if we want to come up with a new solution. It's imperative that we do.
Well, watching your film is probably going to give people a good idea of how to either shift their perspective or open up to possibly some new ideas about this very, very difficult subject matter. Back to the actual film, and you're working on it. We just want to mention your cinematographer, Tomas Arceo.
The desert played like a role in the film. It just was beautifully shot. So congratulations to Tomas and the film.
No, absolutely. And just a note about that too, the reason that we shot that way and the importance of the desert and also the bugs, the micro and then the macro, is this idea that it comes from, you know, the Constitution, you know, the founding fathers talking about the law of like the course of human events unfold within the laws of nature and nature's God. And now we are living, you know, in a world where we think that human laws are the supreme laws, and we're in a whole bunch of trouble because we've held on to that belief. And so the film was meant to bracket nature as the arena within which this narrative and all narratives are unfolding.
We're very interested in the role of Kenny, the American veteran. Tell us about Kenny.
So Kenny, yeah, Kenny's complex, and I wish we had an hour to talk about him, but we don't. He's based on a man that I worked with about 25 years ago when I volunteered for the Los Angeles Mental Health Association. So all of his dialogue and all of that comes directly from the real Kenny. The real Kenny was not a veteran, and it was important that Kenny was a veteran because Kenny, the veteran, to me, is the penultimate patriot, right? The person who goes and puts his life on the line for his country. So if even he is in exile, right? If we treat our patriots that way, I wanted to hold him in the same place as the migrant who is also considered a non-citizen and an exile. Who gets to be an American? You know, when our the way that we decide, you know, who citizenship belongs to is it's so skewed and so in need of an adjustment. And that is the idea was to hold them in the same place. They're both duty status whereabouts unknown, and they're both citizens, and they're both patriots, and they're both totally rejected by their country, by this country.
Tell us what Dustwun means. Kenny in the film explains it, but tell us what the title of your film means.
It's a military acronym for duty, status, whereabouts unknown, and it's given to a service member when they disappear and they still don't know what's happened to them before they say, oh, he went AWOL or this or that. It's just like he's Dustwun. And I liked this term because, again, duty, status, whereabouts unknown, it's so general, and it's also so all-encompassing, and it's him and it's Marta, and it also for me felt like the proper acronym for the state of the moral center of the United States in regards to immigration and human rights. Duty, status, whereabouts unknown. Where is our morality? Where is our sense of humanity? It's lost in the desert, and we need to recover it.
Crystal, congratulations on such a well job done on the film, and this is your first leading role, so congratulations, you did outstanding.
Thank you so much.
And you grew up in Arizona, where the issue of immigration is ever present because it borders Mexico, the southern border. So what did you know about crossings before? What would you hear in the news? What were your preconceived notions? And after you did the film, what do you know now that you learned while doing the film?
Honestly, it's a subject that was already very present and true in my life. I am a Hispanic, daughter of two immigrants. I'm very proud of my heritage and my culture and where my family comes from. It was something that's very present, in your life as a child when you grow up in a Hispanic family and you're in that community. You hear about it all the time. So I knew the stories, the different ways of crossing, that some ways were more dangerous, some were a little bit safer. I knew that it cost a lot of money, and I knew that people risked it all, for a better life. I understood that. I was very close to it. I appreciated it, but being there changed everything. It's so different when you're in the circumstances, and we filmed in the peak of summer. And I don't know if either of you have ever been in the desert in Arizona in the peak of summer, but it is some of the most brutal heat you'll ever experience.
So you actually got to experience what the crossers do experience.
Yeah, seeing things that crossers have left, seeing, monuments to people who've passed. There was a crosser whose body was found while we were filming. That was it, to be that close to it all. There's no way it can't touch you.
Well, what we need to find out now is when and where we can see the film. We understand you're going to have a watch party on May 14th in conjunction with Latin Heat Cinema. So give us all the details and also where we can follow the film and follow you.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Belle, so much for allowing us to have this watch party on your platform. It is a great honor. And we're all so excited about it. So just thank you so much for that. So the way to find it, so May 14th, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And then the movie is 90 minutes. And then after that, we'll do a Zoom Q&A with actors and crew members. And then where you can find it, hopefully on this, there'll be a link to the Facebook event, I think, right? Because that's where
there's also on Eventbrite. All the details are on Eventbrite. They're also on Facebook.
Right.
So anybody who wants to see them, go there. But also give us your Instagram, give us your website, because they can stay in touch with you that way as well.
Absolutely. The website for Dustwun is just dustwunmovie.com. So DUSTWUN movie.com. And we'll have links to the event there. And there's a bunch of stuff there. There's a bunch of pictures, there's more information, there's bios. So dustwunmovie.com is the best place to go as the hub to connect you to the event and then to follow what's going on with the movie. So, but I also should mention that this is a fundraiser. It's important.
Yes.
A fundraiser for two groups, People Helping People in the Borderlands. They're in Aravaca, and No More Deaths. They're also in Aravaca. Both of those organizations are on the ground right now working both to get migrants and asylum seekers out of detention, out of ICE detention. And so the bond fund is to pay for legal expenses and to get people out, because they're in these dangerous environments that are dangerous even before the virus came about. So they need resources, they need help, and so the screening on the 14th is to raise money to help those organizations and to help the people who are suffering right now on the border.
Okay.
It was wonderful to have you. Remember, everyone, May 14th at LatinHeatCinema.com. Don't forget to watch Dustwun.
You can find the Trend Talk at the Trend Talk Show on Instagram. And also remember that if it's trending,
we're talking.